There, I'm so glad that you have the interactive phonics notebook. And I am going to just walk through a copy of one of the packets that we have and kind of explain how you can do each page. And then my recommendations in putting them in the composition notebook so that each of the kids have their own phonics notebook that they can refer back to and do repeated readings, and you're not shuffling papers all over. So the first thing we're going to do is jump onto my desktop, and I'm just going to scroll through this Phonics Interactive Notebook. Now this is the long O, but every interactive notebook that's on the phonics level is in the same format. So this may not be the one that you purchased. And if you want the Longo one, you can go and purchase that if you did a different one. So I just wanted to make that clear that this may not be included in your interactive notebook if you didn't buy the bundle or the Longo sound book. So if we look here, so there's just a note here and then the interactive notebook. And you can put that page on the first page of your notebook. Then, oh, I see there's a typo. I need to fix that. Then if you go here, they have their targeted sentence and they can read it and mark the sounds. And then they can write each of the spellings of the O sounds in the boxes. Over to the right, if you, let me get my arrow. There you go. The students are going to read the O words, and then they're going to decide which O spelling they go under. On this part, to extend it, you could have your child write the words on a piece of paper or on a dry erase board to practice getting that muscle memory and saying the sounds as they write. The next set, and then another thing on those words, the purpose of that solid line is where you can keep the words intact, and you can just cut out the number of words you want to work on at a time period, and then they can cut and glue where it needs to go. So they have river, you can cut it and paste it underneath the ER spelling. And then we have work, and that's the OR spelling. And so you could do a couple. You see, you glue it in, and then you have those left here, and you don't have to worry about losing pieces. I know that's one thing that always drove me crazy whenever we were in between assignments and haven't quite completed something, is losing all the pieces. So this is an easy way of keeping track of it. Now the next page, the child will read the word, and then they'll cut out the picture and glue it in its spot. And this has the same little flip chart. Then on this page over on the left, the child will cut out around the pictures, and then they're going to unscramble the word and write it. And if you notice that the letters are grouped by sounds and the lines are segmented by sound, so it's helping get that letter sound knowledge connected. And so for example, on this first one, it's no, so they would go oh, no, and then they would do that for each one of them. Then if we look over to the right one, this is where this child will read the sentence and then circle the picture that goes with the sentence to represent it. And this will help check comprehension, and it also is having them practice past sounds that they've already learned, and then really targeting that O sound or whatever the interactive notebook is focusing on. Then to practice sight words and blending and just reading fluency, there's the words on the list, and the kids can practice reading these out loud multiple times, and they can also search for the target sound. Then we have questions. These are simple sentences, and then the child should be encouraged to write the answer in a complete sentence. So they can read, what do you see? And then they should write using the lines and using proper letter formation. I see a bow. We will have to model and help this child get in the habit of doing this, but once they learn the pattern, they'll be able to answer these questions simply, more easily. And if your child struggles with handwriting, you can check out my handwriting materials. I'll leave a link in the description, and you can have some practice time, for 5 or 10 minutes a day practicing handwriting to help them become better at their handwriting. And then I have a list of O words. One thing I found as a teacher and tutor, it's really important that the kids are taking their phonics knowledge and using it outside of phonics reading time. And so when you're doing social studies or reading a sign or a recipe or looking at a magazine or reading an outside book, every once in a while stop and say, hey, can we find any O words? And then have them write down the words and mark the sounds. And that's going to help them just pay attention to words more. Then I've created some little stories to help reinforce the O sound. And all these have the short vowel sounds and sight words, and then the targeted O sounds, and they will grow off of each other. So we won't see like A words until we get to the A packet. And then after the A packet, you'll see the O or the A's sprinkled throughout the stories. And just like with the O, I'll continue to put those in future interactive notebooks, just where they're constantly being exposed, having to practice retrieving that information to read better. And they can practice reading these multiple times. So that's what my interactive notebooks look like. And like I said, like each story will be different. It'll be focused on the sounds, and there'll be a little different, but the same format. A couple things that I like about here is that the kids can decorate and make it their own. You can help them make notes on what they need to practice on and help them track their progress. On this page, after the student glues the pictures in, you can have them write some sentences. So they could pick like a word or 2 words and write a sentence in this extra area to practice their writing and putting their thoughts down. And then on this page, they can keep track of how many times they've read it and their times. And finally, on the stories, they can make a comment or answer questions about the stories. You can also use the stories to talk about different grammar concepts. You could ask about like adjectives, and they could find green, that's describing the dress. Or you could talk about the question mark, depending on the level of the kid and how much reading you're wanting them to do to help them make those meaningful connections. So I hope you enjoyed this interactive notebook. Be sure to let me know if you have any questions, and if you have any thoughts on what would be helpful, what you would like to see more of, let me know, because that's my whole purpose, is to help mainstream the learning and giving kids meaningful homework that's going to help them excel and not just be busy. So be sure to like this video and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any new content, and have a lovely day, and I will see you next time.